show, as you know.
I'm not avoiding it. I'm not avoiding it at all.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And come on, we're the Flash. It's parallel universes.
It's all good.
Grant Gustin is the Flash, and I'm the Flash. Don't you see? It's the event horizon. We crossed it, baby. Grant and I are chilling.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a race. It's gonna be dope. Like Jay Garrick and Barry Allen back in the day. It's gonna be dope.
What's up, guys? Faruqi Bros here, back with another video, and today for you guys, we're going to be discussing and debating the big moment on the finale of CW's Christ's on Infinite Earths. That had a pretty big surprise that actually no one saw coming. It was not reported anywhere. There was no secrets that were being leaked on this end. But Ezra Miller's Flash, the DCEU Flash, showed up in an extended scene where he spoke to Grant Gustin's Flash in a pretty big crossover moment between film and TV. The point that we're going to be discussing is the implications of having this crossover. Like, do you think this is just a one and done just to make the fans happy? Or do you think that this actually has some kind of implication to Ezra Miller's role in the DCEU? And of course, as always, we'll talk about, does this have any impact to the Snyder Cut, seeing that Ezra Miller showed up in Snyder's costume, Snyder color grading, and mentioned Ray Fisher's Cyborg. So, to start it off, I'm going to go first and give my own personal thoughts on it. My first reaction, honestly, to the scene itself was I was actually floored. I did not see it coming. A lot of the surprises that CW were doing, like bringing Kevin Conroy or bringing Brandon Routh back as Superman, these were all pre-advertised. They were things that everyone knew that were going to happen. So it was not surprising, but here, this kind of came out of left field, so it was really impressive. As for, what it means, I think it is worth pointing out that they could have easily had Ezra Miller's Barry Allen show up without a Flash costume, just show up in his regular shirt, walking around and meeting Grant Gustin. If they did that, I'd be like, okay, this makes sense because like we just talked about in our last podcast about Flashpoint, Andres Muschietti is directing Flash, and he's going to obviously take it in his own direction, and assumingly, Flash is going to have his own costume as well. Overall, I think that it's pretty big that not only did he show up, he was wearing the costume, Wilkinson's costume, and he mentioned Ray Fisher Cyborg. They didn't have to do any of that. They could have easily just had him show up for 1 second, like how they did the Titans crossovers, but in this case they did not, and they actually let him speak, let him be his own Flash. So I thought this is pretty interesting. Does it mean that WB, this is the first time Warner Brothers has directly acknowledged Snyder's DCEU since 2017? So I thought that's pretty interesting. The question is, do you guys agree with me or not? And for that, we'll start with Zion.
First off, the shock value of it was huge. Nobody saw this coming. I didn't expect it at all. The fact that it just showed up out of nowhere, it was like, and the way the transition into it was like so surprising. Like, where did this come from? How did they get him? So overall, for that fact, it was pretty cool. But as far as the Snyder Cut and what this means, I feel like this is like a one-way thing. I know in the scene, which if you haven't seen, you can search online, or if you saw it in live, Ezra's Flash is like, who's the Flash? Because he hasn't been named the Flash yet. So people are throwing his theories that, is this how he names himself the Flash, or is this how he gets his official superhero name? I don't think this is the case. I think it's like a fun little back and forth they had just for the show. I think it's a one-way thing, and I don't think this is really more. I don't think this has anything to say about the Snyder Cut. I think it's more about the actual Flash film, and just having him there, I think lets the fans know, and a lot of people know that, okay, this guy's still here, and he still has the Snyder costume, and be excited for what's to come for this Flash as well. And it was just a good, cool moment as a fan to see both of them together. I don't think there's no implications more than that, other than it being a cool fan moment for this crossover event. And that's really my full opinion on it.
I agree with Zion. I think the whole concept isn't about Snyder Cut. It has nothing to do with the Snyder Cut. It's just more to show that all the universes are connected. And I think it's just them like flexing their muscles because they have now like a way to make the the films even, like, they can always, like, if this Henry Cavill situation doesn't work out, they can just recast. Like, the Flashpoint movie allows you to do a lot of things with the environment. It allows you to get the younger actors and put them in the universe and recast and remake the universe after it got broken. So, if anything, it's not the greatest thing in the world for a Snyder Cut, because Snyder Cut's not relevant really in this case. Like, there's no, even him saying, "Oh, I told Victor this can happen." What the hell does that have to do with Snyder Cut? Like, I just, okay.
Well, because there is no Ray Fisher movie coming out anytime soon. He's not slated to appear in the Flash solo movie. So there was no reason to add that line unless you're directly tying it to 2017's Justice League. And we do know in the actual Snyder Cut, the Flash will travel through time. He will do time travel. We know in Justice League 2, it's all about time travel.
And different universes.
And different universes, different timelines, like the Nightmare timeline. So the DCEU was kind of playing into that with Snyder's DCU, and they dropped it. Joss Whedon's Justice League had no time travel. The Flash was completely neutered as a character. He was just comic relief the whole movie. But in this crossover in Crisis, he's almost acting like he has the extra power. Like, he could travel through time into different dimensions, which obviously, like Umar said, sets up the Flashpoint movie more than the Snyder Cut. But it is interesting that I think you had that line in there.
Is the Snyder Cut going to be canon when it comes out? That's another big question, because they could release that thing and then just act like, okay, this is just one thing and it never happened really. It's just a nice story. If you guys want to watch it, great. If you don't.
I think, again, doesn't Crisis fix that too? Because Crisis says that everything's canon, just in different alternate universes. This is alternate, this is alternate. Like, they set up in a way that every Flash is canon. Like, now officially, Ezra Miller's Flash and Grant Gustin's Flash are both canon at the same time. They're just different alternate universes, alternate pathways of the same character. So I think that's the one really good thing that Crisis did that, honestly, Marvel couldn't do. So I think, when we compare Marvel versus DC, Marvel isn't there yet. Marvel can't do alternate universes where Hugh Jackman's Logan's going to show up or something. They're not there yet. But DC did that.
They tried doing that in Spider-Man, and they're like, oh, it was a lie.
The closest thing was Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse was the closest thing doing it on the Marvel side. But DC did it straight up with Crisis. And they said, you know what? Everything is canon. You want Brandon Routh Superman? You want Kevin Conroy's Batman? You want Chris Reeves Superman? They freaking showed Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern for a second from that movie. Like, they showed Titans, they showed Swamp Thing, they showed Doom Patrol, Ezra Miller's Flash, which shows the DCEU. They combined literally every single live-action DC thing into one big multiverse, which I thought was pretty cool, honestly. I mean, say what you want about the CW. We all know it's not a high-quality production, and it's not. But I will give it to them. They did try with this crossover. They tried.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything. I think it's just because Ezra Miller wanted his Flash to meet Grant Gustin FLASH. So I think they just did it for fun.
And, I mean, you're right. Ezra Miller has been begging for this. Like, if we all know, since as early as 2015, there's a clip, actually 2016, there's a clip where Ezra Miller has an interview and they said, do you want to meet Grant Gustin's Flash? And he's like, of course we can meet. That's what Flashes do. Flash are supposed to meet each other. That's the power of the character. He can travel through times. He can jump into different universes. That's what the Flash is all about. So let's make it happen. So I think definitely Ezra Miller tried it. I mean, there are rumors that they actually did want even more. They're trying to get the budget for Jason Momoa, get the budget for Wonder Woman, not to show up, but have like a 1 second thing. But they couldn't go that high. And that's because those actors, like Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa, they don't care that much. Like, oh yeah, let's put me in this thing. But Ezra Miller, he's such a fanboy when it comes to the Flash. He's so obsessed with his character that he was like down for it. He's like, yo, get me in the costume, let's go for it. Overall, I think it's a mix between. I'm more optimistic. I think that the fact that WB has never acknowledged anything Snyder related for 3 years, like they just don't. You know, like there's no relation to that movie, and specifically Justice League. This movie took a character like Ezra Miller's Flash, who debuted in Justice League. They took
actually debuted in Batman Superman.
But this costume debuted, like this version of Flash debuted in Justice League. You took Ray Fisher, Cyborg, who also in costume debuted in Justice League. You mentioned both of them. We know the Snyder Cut is time travel. I think there's not that, oh yeah, it's directly tied story-wise. I think this is WB throwing a bone to the fans and being like, listen, we acknowledged it. We know you guys want this thing. We just showed it off right now. Like, here's Ezra Miller's Flash. Because we all know when the Flash solo movie comes out, he's not going to have his costume. Maybe he'll have it for one scene, but they're going to streamline his costume. They're going to have a different costume when it's all said and done. All right, so what do you guys think about Ezra Miller showing up on Crisis on Infinite Earths? Do you like how Crisis set up an entire multiverse where every single live-action DC movie and film and TV show is in one universe? Let us know in the comments below. From myself, from Zayan, from Umar, and from Samir, this is the Furuki Bros. We'll see you next time. Peace out.